I love that last picture.
Do it like the last picture. I'm sorry.
Loved it.
Sorry, Chad, you had it on your social media, so I had to take it.
Fair game. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt, and as always, my partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts. How you doing, guys?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
I sure hope our special guest stays to come on with us.
You did ask, are you sure? Before...
I always say, are you sure?
Okay, well, just making sure.
You know, if we didn't run them off at the hotel room in the Paracon, we ain't gonna run them off now. So.
So true.
Well, you guys, just to let you know, tonight we have a very special guest. He is the founder of Ghost Geeks, and he's a paranormal scientist and researcher, and a self-proclaimed geek. And we love getting into trouble with this guy, and we plan on getting into lots of trouble with him in the future. So, without further ado, let's welcome our special guest, Mr. Chad Wandel. Hi, Chad. Come on, bring him on the screen. Hey,
Okay.
boy, what's up?
It was a small glitch.
So good to be here.
Hey, how you like that intro? I hadn't even seen that.
I loved it. I love the picture. It's my
good.
I know. I saw it and I was like, no, that's it. That's all the marketing material I need right there for Chad.
Well, no, I got videos of me screaming like a little girl too, so it's fine.
I love it. I love it. So Chad, you are the founder of Ghost Geeks. Tell us a little bit about Ghost Geeks. And as you said, what's the difference between a nerd and a geek?
About $100,000.
There you go.
Yeah, so I guess Ghost Geeks kind of grew from an obsession with the paranormal. You know, my family's got a really thick Indian heritage. My mom is Choctaw and Cherokee Indian, and we actually grew up on the brain fart. There you go.
Reservation.
We grew up on tribal land. The reservation as a kid. So I lived in Oklahoma for a number of years on the reservation with everybody. And so kind of grew up in that as well. And just kind of being there, being a part of that, having experiences. And I actually lived in a pretty haunted house as a kid and had some experiences as a kid that kind of just stuck with me. So bringing that obsession to adulthood, now that I can afford the toys, it really snowballed.
I love it.
And my niece was really into it. She wanted to go try some stuff. So it kind of went from there. I was like, you know what? I see it on TV all the time. It's time to do this on our own. So we just kind of went off from there. And my real job kind of plays right into it is I'm a data scientist. So I actually have been building complete databases to track everything. So hopefully my goal is in the future to have a database of enough data that we can start seeing if there's any collaboration with other things to kind of go, you notice every time this happens. And now we're starting to see correlation through other things, and we can kind of start to predict paranormal activity. So,
ooh, I like that idea. Predict paranormal activity.
Yeah, if we get it, because it's kind of like weather. When certain things change, we know certain things are going to happen. And we can get an idea of when this data changes this way, we know the pressure is dropping. That indicates a change in the weather pattern, which is typically we get low pressure, you get a cold front that's coming through. So we can start to predict things like that. So we can say, when you get static electricity, ionized energy, you start getting all these other readings, we can go, your chances for paranormal activity or the scenarios in which those things could happen are at a heightened level. So be ready for it. So.
Yo, he's smart.
I love that. Love it.
So I know that you're collecting all this data and you're trying to collect it long term to kind of map something. Is there any particular variable that you see right now that is causing heightened paranormal activity?
There's two. So the first one that really always seems to take a hit is barometric pressure. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think it's temperature, but I actually see barometric pressure more often because typically when you have a barometric pressure change, it actually causes temperature change. So there's kind of a correlation there already. And then the second one is actually soil content. I minored in geology. And so nice. I am a rock nerd as well. And so I've noticed that places that have high limestone and high quartz tend to capture energy. And it's kind of weird because a lot of people don't realize quartz is very special, very, very special. Have any of you ever heard of quartz timed watches?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you know how that works?
No.
Nope.
It has something to do with the vibration in the
I'm like,
yeah. So when you give
look at me
quartz a voltage, it actually vibrates at a specific rate. And so it's predictable and it's so accurate, we can use it to actually run time with. So,
Look at Shelly. I'm so proud of
Hey,
you.
I took a couple of geology
Queen
courses
nerd,
and made
she's coming
A's.
aboard.
Yes, I'm a nerd. Sorry, guys. Everything vaguely paranormal has been fun, but I'm going to go to Ghost Geeks.
Chad, do not let her be your ambassador. Don't let her
Don't
do
do it.
I do. I'm a great ambassador.
I think so. She's doing great so far. But yeah,
Thank
quartz
you.
is really kind of special. It's kind of one of those materials that's kind of quasi-ish magnetic, but it can actually hold an electrical charge, which if you look at what a computer does, is it's just holding electrical charges in a pattern, 1, 0, charge, no charge, no charge, charge. Well, if you go charge, no charge, no charge, charge, no charge, no charge, charge, that's the letter A. And so all it takes is a certain scenario to play that back, and you could literally have a record that plays something and when the scenario is right. So that's one of the things that I've been researching and trying to figure out is, can it hold enough data to do something?
So does that
So-
lend into the? Sorry, Shelly, I didn't mean to cut you off. Does that lend into the like stone tape theory idea?
Yeah. And so a lot of people think it's the stone, but it's actually the mineralization in that stone. The stone itself, I don't believe does it. I think it's the mineralization that does it, because those happen over such a quick succession versus how long it takes stone to be made or compressed, that I think there's more opportunity for the mineralization to capture data than it would be a stone. And again, like I said, some minerals have more properties that lend themselves to data capture.
So do you find?
Let me ask you my question.
Okay.
Is there a variable in this that is unpredictable that you cannot predict? Is there an
Ionization.
Well, I thought maybe could it be like the people you are working with? Because I've seen some people walk into rooms and shit goes nuts, and I've seen some people walk in and everything goes away. Is there a factor with that?
If we look at it in those terms, the people's the number one. But I also say that people is the best investigation tool we have. Whatever you have on you, that's the best. Forget any of the devices. If you walk in a room and you go, well, I don't think I should be here, you should pay attention. So there's been a few times I've walked in, I went, I'm not supposed to be here, guys. I'm gonna step out for a minute and just debate whether I really should do this or not.
See, me and Shelly must be on the dumb spectrum then of that, because we'd be like, "Oh, I really shouldn't be here. Oh, look, there's a chair over there. I'll just sit right in that corner. It's all good."
I'll just go over there and see the
I'm guilty because it's that look at this train wreck and I want to see all the dead bodies, right? It's like traffic happens, and we get overcome with that sometimes. I can't not look away, so you just get drawn into it. So, but yeah, I mean, the Conjuring House is one of the places that we stepped into, and I was just like, man, something tells me I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here.
You're like,
it was rough. That was a rough night.
Like, it's not supposed to be here. It's the Conjuring House. Yeah.
That night was intense. I've still got video that we've got to put out on that, but I am down a computer right now. My server crashed, and so my CPU it shipped today. So hopefully I'll have it by the weekend, and everything will get back into flow, and we'll get stuff going. But
awesome.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit that happened that night.
So you said that you are with the data for your real job, because we all know this is what we really want to be doing.
Yeah.
So we
it's
call
just
our
my funding habit that I do that so I can fund this.
Exactly. So I'm going out on a limb here. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one thinking this. You obviously build your own stuff and incorporate your own systems and programs and all that kind of stuff. What is like the typical? I don't know. I've always been interested to build your own piece of equipment. What is your typical turnaround time on that? Like, how did that whole process come about?
It came about because my niece wanted to invite all of her friends, and I was like, I'm not paying $60 for a K2 meter. This is the cheapest thing in the world to build, and I'm not going to go buy 20 of them, so I'm going to go build them for $4 a piece. And so, I can build K2s for like $4. So
nice.
It kind of came out of that as like, I'm not cheap, but I'm not stupid.
You're frugal.
Yeah, I'm frugal. So it kind of came out of that. You're
smart with your money.
They do. But it kind of came out of the more of a necessity as I kind of took it more seriously, was just looking into these devices going, man, they're so easy to tamper with and screw with that this just doesn't cut the mustard for me. Like this could never pass as scientific equipment. So one of the things that I've done as I build my own equipment is I shield them. I shield the crap out of them. So like my REM pods, you can go right up to it with a walkie-talkie and click it all you want. It's going to ignore you.
Wow.
It's going to ignore you. So yeah, I shield it because I want whatever is going to interact with it. It can get past that. That's if it can walk through walls, it can do things. It can get past that.
Yeah.
So just reach out and touch it. And if you can touch it, even better. Yeah, it might be a little harder, but you know what? It means it's going to be more valid to me. And then the other side of that is when shit's breaking, I actually understand what's going wrong rather than I don't know what to do.
I'm like, that's so true because I've got a red light on my REM pod that's been out for about 3 months now, and I don't got a fucking clue what to do with that.
We'll take it apart and figure it out.
There you go.
So, as someone who builds their own equipment and knows all about all the components, is there any piece of equipment out there that you've seen and looked at, you've been like, this is a total crock of shit?
Careful. Careful.
For me, I want equipment that has a control factor.
Yes.
Like with the Estes method. I love the Estes method, but there's no control factor in it. So how do you build in a control factor? Well, you have to take us out of it, right? So do you guys remember the cards I brought to the Paracon? That's how we take us out of it. If I shuffle up that deck of cards and I hold that card up to a camera and then I'm blindfolded and earphoned, I have no idea what's on this. I can't be influenced. I don't accidentally overhear something. I don't have any idea what's going on. And I'll tell you, over the last month, I've been doing that a lot and I have got some stupid answers. And I've watched video back going, that can't be real. So it's for me, it's another level of, okay, you could debunk this, now debunk that. Because I sure as hell ain't memorizing 54 cards and shuffling them up and pretending I could figure it out.
Tell them what that is. Tell them what you're talking about on the cards to explain.
Oh, well, let me see. I got a deck around here somewhere.
Yeah, Sean, this is Chad's own thing that he had showed us at Paracon, but you can show our viewers kind of what you're talking about. And you do sell these, right? They can order these from you?
Yeah, we're working on getting them online. So, I'm abusing the crap out of them right now to make sure they can, they're fully laminated, so they're waterproof. But on the other side, they've got questions on them.
Read us
and
a
you
couple
change
of
the temperature in this room. So if you're blindfolded and you hold this up and all of a sudden you go, it's getting colder. Is anybody else getting colder? I'm getting colder.
So it's not even sorry, it's not even necessarily a direct, you're not necessarily even looking for just a direct response. You're just looking for a flat out just response, even in the environment with these cards.
So some of them could be environmental. Some of them could be related questions. Like I have another deck that's all about cemeteries. Like, can you lead me to your grave? Can you tell me where you are? Or, are there other spirits here that could interact? And just, you could use them with the spirit box. You can use them on your own. So it kind of allows you to kind of mold those. But the other thing I like them for is when like noobs come on with me and they're like, I have no idea what to say during this EVP session. I just hand them a deck of cards and go start asking.
There you go.
Yeah, just you got to build that muscle memory up to figure out what you're going to say. Because everybody's been there. You go, let's do an EVP session, and 3 other people go, are you a man? Okay, don't get too crazy.
It's like when we have a larger group, maybe the Publix with theirs or something like that. We'll take a moment with a piece of equipment in the center and Shelly will inevitably always say, somebody else has a question because they get tired of talking to me, and we'll go around the circle. It doesn't matter how many questions have been asked before. You're always going to get to that one person who's like 8th person down, and they're like,
Deer in the headlights.
What's my name? You're like, okay.
Exactly.
I always like to ask anything. I'm like, what's your favorite brand of booze? I'm like, they probably
That's
don't
a
get
valid
that very
question.
often. Yeah. Do you smoke cigars? I mean, you can ask anything. And it's always, how many spirits are in this room? Screw that.
It's like the same 6 questions over and over again. So they're actually really great if you do public events with a lot of new people, just to have a couple of these decks of cards, and we use them all the time for the same thing. Just like if you don't know what to say, just grab a deck, put it in your back pocket. If you feel like you're having a brain fart, just whip them out, start asking some questions till you start thinking of some other questions on your own. So it's a great little tool.
I think that's the hardest thing about like trying to get, especially like new people to paranormal investigations. There's nothing crazy like outline wise that you got to ask questions about. It's literally like, think of it as a person. You're trying to get to know this person, interview this person. Are you married? Do you have children? How many children do you have? What year were you born? You know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the hardest thing for newbie people to remember is make sure they're yes or no questions.
Yeah.
or whatever it is you're working with. Like if you're working with a spirit box, sure, ask questions that could have real answers to. But if you're trying to work with, you know, a K2 meter or something that's going to turn on or off, if you're asking digital questions, make digital questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my favorite is always when one of us is leading the Estes method or something like that. And we got somebody on there and they're like, "Ooh, is somebody standing right next to me?" And we're like, "No." And we're like, "Oh shit, they can't hear us."
You know, I asked this K2 meter what its wife's name was. And for the life of me, I can't hear what it's saying.
I can't hear it. Yeah. Why can't you tell me?
That's always my favorite when somebody asks a K2 meter, "What is your name?" I'm like, "How do you want them to answer?"
Flash. Yeah. So one of the things that we do in our Estes method is we always have an investigator hold their hand out, and we always say 1 is for yes, 2 is for no. So if you have to ask us a question, you say, "Is there somebody standing next to us?" We can just run over your hand and go, that way we can communicate without breaking that barrier. So
look at you adding something that we three hadn't even thought about.
The person who's blindfolded has to find you and tap your hand.
No. The person who's blindfolded, just if you ask a question, you just hold out your hand, and we talk about it in front. So we say, if the answer that we need to give you is yes, it's 1, and if we're going to tell you no, we'll tap your hand twice.
So that way, if you're under, Shelly, you have your hand out, and you're like, "Is somebody standing next to me?" And it's a no. They just tap your hand twice.
But you have to be standing next to me to tap me twice. So technically,
but not at the time you ask the question.
Well, I mean, how many times have we been doing Estes and we felt like there was someone standing next to us when there actually wasn't? I think that's a really cool. That's a really cool system to work out. I hadn't even thought about that.
Shelly's over here thinking that the person that's in the experiment's like, is it yes or no?
I'm gonna find you.
That could lead me to grab very bad places on people. Get me thrown out of somewhere else.
Is there a particular example of an answer you got that's just blown you away while you've been using the cards?
Yeah, actually, as soon as my computer gets back, I'm going to upload this. I was in Waco at a place called Lover's Leap. So it's a park now, but it's a sheer cliff bluff. And one of the stories is they said that 2 people, they couldn't be together, so they jumped off the cliff together and committed suicide. And I had the blindfold on, and I was sitting on the steps just a few feet away from the bluff, and I was asking questions. And of course, I don't know what it is. It turns out the question I held up was, "Are you attached to this place?" And the answer I got back was the water. So that was pretty intense there. And there were 4 or 5 more questions that were spot on in a row there that just kind of, when I watched that back, I was going, holy crap.
See, I love this whole idea because the Estes method is probably my favorite experiment to run. And we have had moments in our Estes methods that well, I mean, we up the ante a little bit. Sometimes we'll put 1 person under, sometimes it's 2. We'll see if the 2 get to talking back, which we have had before. But especially the one at Old Park where I was leading Shelly and our other investigator, Rhonda, and there were no questions being asked. Shelly was just pinpointing where I was in the room the whole freaking time. You know, I love it. That's kind of like the example with your cards. I love that. I love taking it to that next level because, as you said, it just validates that moment even more whenever you get that mind-blowing stuff.
Absolutely. Especially when you can take us out of it and go, okay, how would I have faked that? Because I mean, you see me shuffle the cards, I put them down, blindfold goes on, headphones go on, and I'm just doing this. Like, I mean, and the other thing is there's some that are just, I'm just sitting there like, I got nothing. Nothing. And then you get this string of them and you're just like, come on.
It's crazy.
So you should make a dirty version for people investigating brothels. How much for the night? You know, questions like that.
You just gave me a great idea. That's perfect.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll only take 10%.
Totally done.
Only take 10%.
You heard it here first.
Totally done.
Ghost Geeks After Dark.
That's right.
That's right.
The X-rated version.
That's right. And literally, I think you can kind of even go so far as, I mean, you could have like a kind of like Cards Against Humanity, all your different sets, all your different expansion packs. Definitely.
Yeah, I've already started, a hospitals and asylums pack, and So, I work with some people that are in the medical field. So we've got some really medically related questions that could be answered by someone that practices medicine versus someone who had something done to them. So it kind of helps balance out between, a patient versus a staff worker versus a doctor versus a nurse. We have something along all those lines. So you kind of get the spectrum of them. So
awesome.
Love it. I love it. I can give you a whole list of questions, and you can call them Shelly's stupid questions.
I actually put blank ones in there so people can use a Sharpie, or not a Sharpie, but like a dry erase marker, and make up your own questions. So
I love that. Love it. Perfect.
Shelly's over here asking all the nasty, horrible, gross after dark questions.
Fantastic.
That's why we get along.
Lots of That's right. Me and Chad are both horrible people, and we have a lot of fun being that way.
I can only imagine what the conversation to Ballinger is going to be about.
Oh, Lord.
Can you talk shit on people from up here?
Can we spit on them? Yeah, it does. Well,
if it makes it to the ground.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Shelly's like, what happens if I drop this pen out the window?
Just make sure you get it far away. It's not.
Yep. I'll be horrible. It'll be fine. We won't tell.
So what was the first place?
Chad's already laughing.
Oh God. Go ahead, Brian.
So what was the first place that you went, and how did you get hooked?
Oh gosh. I mean, it probably we'll do this as a 2-section. As a kid, in Durant, Oklahoma, there was a train station silo that got abandoned by my grandparents' property just as you come off the reservation, and the train went down one side of the boundary of it, and we would always leave the property and jump the fence and walk the train track to this old silo, and we had stuff in there that would just blow your mind. I mean, we'd have stuff move, you would hear trains coming, but this line's been abandoned, so you shouldn't hear a train coming. Right. We would have, there was one time we actually had one of the switch boxes that would switch you to pass it to go this way. It actually would flash. Bonk, bonk. There hasn't been power for years, but it flashed. And so as a kid, 10, 11, 12, 13, going and investing in this thing, I was like, this is nuts. Then fast forward, we actually went to Ballinger together for our first official Ghost Geeks event that we went and did when we formed Ghost Geeks. And I was blown away by that place. It's so consistent that I just look at that and go, how is it so consistent? What the heck is actually going on here? So it's nuts. I love that.
I would say out of Texas, I'm pretty sure I can speak for our group as well, that Old Park it's got to be our favorite place in Texas to go investigate. It just, as you said, every single freaking time. And it may not be
blow your mind stuff, but I can consistently know that I'm coming away with something.
Something.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
And I can't say that about any other place.
Yeah.
But I can say that about Oak Park. I'm almost confident enough that I could put it in writing. I guarantee you're going to have an experience. There's nowhere else I could do that.
And Chad has seen me scream at ghosts at Old Park, so.
I've screamed at ghosts at Old Park.
I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna catch it fully on film one day, Shelly. If you just
have you guys have you guys heard the big scream that happens at Old Park yet?
No, I guess
no. Yeah, we have heard
times.
We've heard screams, but are you is this something specific that's repetitive?
Well, the first time we heard it, our group was, I can't remember the year. I think it was 2021. And then it didn't happen again for a long time. But we were upstairs and we just had this loud scream. I mean, so loud, you see us on video putting our hands over our ears, looking at each other going, what the fuck is this? I mean, at first I literally thought maybe a semi truck had lost its brakes and it's barreling down on us, because it was just this high pitched screech and this guttural growl with it. And we were like, what the fuck? Well, the thing is, that audio didn't record on anything.
Really?
So all you hear us is talking with our hands over our ears. None of that was recorded, but we heard it loud and clear. And it turns out that was the night the previous owner actually passed away.
Whoa.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
so when we got told that, I was like, man, that's the building just screamed out in pain. Just pain. I can't believe this person died. But it was, can't remember if it was this past January, further back into last year a little bit. We had the growl happen again, and there's a video you can see somebody like running down the hallway and that kind of stuff. And
I watched that video. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I've
so
seen that one too.
yeah, 2 people were upstairs when it happened. It happened 3 times that night. 2 people were upstairs the first time. Then everybody was upstairs for the second and the third time. And the second time it happened, I was standing between the doorway to the kids' room and the next room after that. And I jumped back like 5 steps because when I heard it this time, I was convinced we had a wild animal in the building. Convinced.
Wow.
It sounded like a mountain lion. That's what it sounded like, was a mountain lion. It had that guttural purr growl to it with a little bit of a over the top of it. And I was like, that's a mountain lion. We ain't playing this game. And when you see my reaction, it'll make sense when I tell you about another story. I had an animal encounter in the Nazareth.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I jumped back,
stories
turned
about
around.
that
I'm
too.
like, get the lights on. We got to find this thing and get everybody safe. We searched the whole building. There was nothing. There was no wing in. And so we turned off the lights. We're all at the back end of the hallway. We turned off the lights, get ready to start investigating in. The other end of the hallway, this time it growls. And we're like, holy crap, what is this? So we still don't know what it is. And I have no theories on it right now. All I know is it's one of those growls that's primal enough that your inner instinct goes run. Like, yeah.
I'm really, really interested in seeing like the combination of the teams. Like if you're getting that and we get physical attacks, you know, pretty much.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, when that meshes.
Yep.
You don't find me and Chad off in the corner somewhere going, come on, we're going to get this shit rolling. Let's go.
Yeah. I bring my boots from my Indian regalia, and I do a little dance.
I'll dance with you.
So I always start off and it's stuff you'll never see in our video because that's my culture. I keep that for myself.
Yeah.
But we do a little, kind of a prayer dance to kind of let spirits know that we're coming and that we want to talk and that we're open for it. And I think that's part of what helps us capture as much as we do is bringing that aspect, my culture, to that. And it really does open it up because I've done that. I've gone on investigations with other groups and they watch me do that and they go in and they go, that was the craziest investigation we've ever been on. I'm like, well, there might be something to it. So there might be something to it.
Hell, we might just be physically thrown out by the spirits then.
Well, can we do it too? Because we all have Native American heritage. I'm either Apache or Comanche, whichever one couldn't get along with nobody. That's what mine is.
Apache.
Jump on it. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So anyway, but can we play too? I want to learn.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's really easy. It's really easy to learn.
Sorry, Chad, that one got me. I'm a music nerd, so
yes,
one got me.
I'm glad somebody went on that ride with me.
That's usually going to be Ryan going on that ride.
Yeah, usually it's that one.
I was being serious. I wanted to learn it.
Yeah. So the story on why I jumped back though is I guess it was 2019, right before the Nazareth closed. We went on an investigation there, and me and Kristen went upstairs, and we had noticed on the DVR system that there was a raccoon in the building, and we knew it was somewhere around there. So we were already kind of like, just be careful when you go in the rooms. There could be a raccoon. Well, leave it to me. I go in the room, and I'm like, the hell is that? Next thing I know, boom, this raccoon's up on me. So there's a reason I get a little jumpy. It's because I've been attacked by a raccoon, people.
Did he chase you?
It can be dangerous.
Hold on, wait. So you've been to Yorktown Memorial Hospital, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you're down in the basement, you're in the priest area, not the bedroom, but the I guess living room, whatever beforehand. Yep. We basically had a group like kind of semicircled priest bedroom and into that little sitting area. And we all start hearing something, and we're like, it's like this. And we were like, what is that? Is that a demon coming to kill us? And then all of a sudden, somebody points their light up. This freaking raccoon is like
They saw me.
Boom!
We all were like, oh shit.
But I wasn't. I'm like, no, it's just a raccoon. And everybody's like, wow. And they all start running out. Big dudes scared of this little raccoon. I'm like, you'll be fine.
They got rabies. And they're smart.
So don't feel bad for jumping, Jen. We have had a very similar experience.
Yeah. I mean, this one actually jumped on my face and was
Oh
like,
my God.
getting at me. And I was like, pulling on all that rabid cat. So it was scary. I was like, I'm going to die right here, aren't I?
This is how it ends.
This is exactly. This is how it ends.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the newspaper articles on this one.
Like, and here I was the whole time thinking it'd be something heroic. No, raccoon chased my face off.
Ghost enthusiast mauled by woodland critter.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a good. How did you die? Woodland creature. What?
Woodland creature.
Does that make any sense to anybody?
A nymph or something? No, is there?
No, they're
You've
raccoon.
seen Guardians of the Galaxy? They're mean.
Oh,
Just
my God.
cracking me up.
So, other than a raccoon, would you say that you've ever encountered anything non-human on your investigations?
Oh, 100%. 100%. There's, yeah, have y'all been to Old Lavaca?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had an incident there where something got very emotionally aggressive and was trying to, it attacked everybody on our team. It took a try at everybody. And it kind of adopted us into this policy of what we now call the Adam and Eve theory, of where if you're investigating with somebody that you are intimately familiar with, be very careful because they can use that against you. And like, you know, I was investigating with my wife and she's like, I keep getting the sensation that the person that I'm talking to is like a child or they're mentally stunned at a child. And so I immediately dropped down and brought myself down like I would speak to a child. And when I did, I let my guard down and bam, it floored me, man. And so it took me half an hour to shake that off. And that was one of the scariest moments I've ever had.
What were you experiencing?
I totally lost track of what was going on. Like, and you can see in the video, like my eyes just gloss over. I'm not there. I'm just not there. And they're starting to go, Dad, you here? You with us? And so I was like, I gotta get up. I had enough brain power left in there to go, I need out. I need out right now. And so we got up and started walking out. And like, I threw up. I went and threw up and was like, I had to take my shoes off, put my feet in the dirt. I mean, that's one of the things I do is I ground myself if shit goes wrong. Take my feet off, put them in the dirt, and, you know, just get out in the open, let nature do its thing. And sure enough, I got my feet in the dirt. A couple minutes later, I'm throwing up. So something tried real hard. Something tried real hard.
There's something there at that location that whenever you're walking through the very front, like the actual what used to be the very front door, not side door, not anything like that.
Yep.
When you go all the way through that first hallway past the sheriff's bedroom, you go into the back section of it. You have the back door, I believe, is first, and then you have like two conference rooms. That second conference room on your left, there's something about that room I don't like because
that's where I set up the computer.
Well, when you walk into that and you look to the right, that corner to your right, to me, is always dark. Both actual like illumination and feeling.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's this big gargantuan tower motherfucker that's like, I'm gonna get you.
It was weird. We had some really strange experience. We actually caught a light going on the backside of those second story jail cells. You actually see a ball of light travel down that little corridor. And it's weird because, you know, we send our niece up there to walk behind it. You could clearly tell the difference between her and a flashlight and this ball of light. And I got nothing. Like, I have no idea how that could possibly be made. Like, it's incredible.
That place is something else.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the places for sure. Even at Nazareth, like I was listening back to audio as I'm editing, and I got this evil ass growl. I mean, just goes rah, rah, up there in the surgical suite, and I was just like,
"Oh wow,
okay." I'm glad I didn't hear that then, because it'd have been fuck this shit, I'm out.
Now I'll tell you that I've investigated Nazareth several times before it was closed down, and that surgical suite is the area that is frightening. But I'll tell you, a place in that particular location that bothered me more was ever behind those glass blocks, that little glass blocked off office.
We had a door over there slam on us, and we don't know which door it was. We had the SLS camera, and we're like just kind of going around, and we're at that door with the glass blocks, and we kind of stepped through that threshold, and all of a sudden, boom! And I mean, you hear it; it echoes the whole building, and everybody's like, "What the fuck was that?" And we're like, "It was a door, but we don't know what one." So it was just so loud; it sounded like it came from everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Scared the shit out of me.
Those
doors are heavy.
Yeah, there was something behind those glass blocks that you didn't want to mess with, and that was the one place that I kept going. I really don't want to be here. That means I have to go. I have to walk in, because it's not going to beat me.
I have to go. Thanks for honking me at the red light. Now I got to stay here till we both die.
Yeah, I have to stay here till we both die, right? Oh, I'm glad you do that too.
Yeah, that's a crazy location.
So
is that even open to be? You can't even get in there anymore, is it? It's
No,
condemned.
you gotta in order to reopen that facility, the city has required that the elevators be repaired.
And that's not going to happen in an abandoned building.
Not unless somebody wants to make some donations. Because I was like, well, I'll buy it. How expensive it could be? $600,000.
Whoa.
$600,000 to fix the elevators.
Good Lord.
I said, nah, it's okay.
Nah.
I wonder if there's a way that they could like do a grant or something somehow, but but you'd have to probably do like a whole full restoration of it.
More than likely. Because like if you try to apply for any of the Texas historical marker stuff, then you have to, not only do you have to restore it, but you have to restore it the way it was back then.
That's right.
Yep.
To original
You can't
condition,
add anything modern to it, which is almost impossible these days. So
anything visibly modern, correct?
Yeah.
That's
It was
crazy.
required to be completely rewired and everything else and replumbed.
Oh yeah, because
and
it's
all that.
1950s wiring. I mean, most of the plugs there didn't have ground, and that was one of the things I was like, man, if this place had power all the way through it, we'd be screwed.
Yeah.
There's that one staircase. There is one way up and one way down. If something happens, you got to get out of there. You better have the lights in front of you.
And y'all know the story why it was shut down. So a paranormal investigator passed away there. And
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up or not, because I got a little story for you. The very first time I ever had something that I call a flash image, that I was kind of overwhelmed with everything I was suddenly just going through my head. I was standing there with another investigator, and all of a sudden I just started backing out of the room, and he was like, what's wrong? I go, I don't know. I have to get out of this room. I said, you need to get out of this room right now. And he goes, why? What's the matter? I said, I'm not going to tell you in here. I'll tell you when we get outside. We got outside, and he's like, tell me what's going on. I said, I've never had this happen before. I saw a guy laying on the floor, grabbing his chest like he was having a heart attack. That was 6 months before that happened.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And so they shut it down because they couldn't get their equipment up and down the stairs. So they actually
That's right, to save him, right? Yeah. So that's an odd little coincidence there.
Wow.
And that guy will tell you to this day that, yeah, I told him that not too long before it actually happened, that I was just, and he was like, are you sure it isn't me? I'm like, no, it wasn't you, or you probably wouldn't be standing right here.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
You know,
So now that brings up a
strange.
question I have for you though, Shelley.
What?
So you've been starting to see things like that. Have you been writing any of these down?
No. It doesn't have. I mean, it's so rare. That was one of the few times I can count on one hand how many times that's just like all of a sudden just popped into my head in the middle of an investigation. I've been like, whoa, I don't like none of this. So no, I did. Nah.
You need to write those down though. You need to document those.
It's been like 5 times. I don't have time
Doesn't
for
matter.
that.
When it happens, you need to document it. You need to document it. Because it could be something turning on in you and you don't even realize it.
Just call me Nostradamus. I don't know.
I keep a dream diary. So
child, nobody needs to know my dreams.
I'll write them down. And sometimes I've gone back and because this happens to me, has been happening to me more and more frequent. I'll get somewhere and I'll go, I've done this before.
Mm-hmm. I get that a lot.
What's going on? Can I remember what it was that I remember this from? And like there was one time I actually remembered it all the way through, and I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, dude in a red shirt's gonna come through the door. There he comes. I'm like, I told you. I've done this. Matrix has reset, damn it.
He's just like, dude in red shirt, mark it down.
Yeah, dude, in
What?
red shirt, mark it down. Bam,
Nothing,
there
you
he
put a
is. I'm
check
like,
mark in your box. Check. Got this one right. Check.
that's only ever happened one time where I could actually remember it enough to like remember something specific that was going to happen. Every other time you're just like deja vu. I've been here, but it's happening more and more frequently. So I don't know if maybe it's something in me that's trying to turn on too, or if I'm just getting closer to something that's connecting with that or what. But I've been following along, and it's been happening more and more frequently. So
Sounds
keep
very
that.
sounds very
Well,
similar to a personal situation that we
that
three have talked about.
Yeah. And that raises an interesting question, because do you find now that the more you have done paranormal investigation, the more intuitive you've become?
Yeah, and I say that with a grain of salt. You know, I had my own business for 25 years, which was a production company where we DJ'd corporate events and weddings and stuff like that. So, and you know, I was a musician to start off my life. So I got really good at reading people and reading crowds and just feeling the energies and spaces to know how to bring that energy up or down, or to make them come along with whatever story we're trying to tell. And so I've always kind of been intuitive on that level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if it's just I'm figuring out how to connect those two so we wave, or if it's something more than that. So I'm really cautious when people talk about psychic abilities, because to me, like, that's so ultra rare that maybe 10 people in the world truly have it. Like that's how rare I really believe it is. Like it's so rare that don't even come at me with that, because we're gonna go.
I knew there was a reason I liked you. I have this thing about psychics. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
it's you know, I do not. Look, I just want to put this out there so nobody gets too pissed at me. I do not think that it's phony. I just think it's so rare that people truly have that ability, that anybody that can claim they can just jump through an internet portal and talk to you about something they're feeling. That's just my belief. And if you think you can change my mind, I'm open to it. So I will say
you know what? Yeah, if you change my mind, I'm awesome.
But just be prepared that I'm going to put you through some hellacious tests.
Well, we actually put a self-proclaimed psychic to the test once, and not only could they not tell us anything about what they were seeing, they couldn't tell us where we were or anything, or what floor we were on or anything like that, or even a name that was should have been pretty easy to come up with.
Right now I'm getting that all of us are in Texas.
No way.
I have the feeling that all of us are going to have a very intense experience together at some point. Yes, I feel that.
How?
I feel that.
So specific, Shelley.
And I think one of you has a relative with the letter W in their name. Chad, your last name is Wandel. It's you.
Well, my brother-in-law is Wyatt.
See, it works.
Okay, that's creepy because my nephew's name is Wyatt.
Maybe I'm better than you think I am. My favorite show.
I'm seeing the sun coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
It always comes out tomorrow.
That's your bottom dollar, man. No, I don't know. I find it interesting what you were saying about like weaving the two together, because the three of us and Brittany have had quite a few lengthy conversations about something that I don't even know how to say it. I'm very standoffish about wanting to talk about it because it's I don't know what it is. I have no idea, but we put it to the test of putting me on camera, blindfolding me, doing all this kind of stuff, and me just pointing things out as I'm feeling things and sensing things. There's been some crazy moments that have been caught on camera that I can't explain. And it hasn't really been this in depth since I got so far into the paranormal world.
Okay. So is it, but you're not like going into someone's mind and trying to get information. You're just going, I am sensing something over here. Or I am sensing this. So that's more of you just being really, really in tune with your body. Like you're understanding that I'm getting this weird sensation on the hairs of my skin over here. Something's over here. And it may be on a subconscious level that you don't even realize you're picking it up. Or, you know, have you ever been tested for magnetic field sensitivity?
No, will you do that?
We'll do
for
that
us?
when we get together in July. I'll test
Okay.
you. You might be really sensitive to magnetic fields.
Okay.
Which could explain it, because one of the theories is that ghosts can manipulate magnetic fields. So
Right.
if one gets near you, you could be sensing that fluctuation on, like you're a walking K2 meter. So we can test that. I can test
Does
it.
it involve electrodes?
I electrical
like
device.
electrodes.
Yeah.
I'll even
I have an EKG machine. We can totally hook you up.
Oh yes, I want to play. You can hook me up anywhere, baby.
I'll even hold different colored light bulbs so that I can scan across,
I'm
Exactly.
Anything you want.
I want to get some mobile EKG units, man, because I thought it'd be fun to do investigations and show everybody's like heart rhythms and stuff, and just be like, "Yep, that motherfucker's freaking out."
Oh, I would totally.
Almost everybody looks calm and ready.
I was gonna say, like y'all should put like, I don't know if my heart like starts racing. I know the most out of the team. I would totally do. I've always wanted to do that, like a paranormal investigation, like with a heart monitor on,
Right?
like tied back to somebody else who's just watching this bitch.
Somebody's running telemetry on you, put your heart rate up and be like, he looks really calm, but his heart rate's 190. His blood pressure's through the roof.
Hey, Chad, can you make a God helmet for us to play with?
I mean, like, you want like all that data?
I don't know. I mean, can you just make it where you can read our minds or something?
Already did.
Well, you've
I
got
knew
one
you were gonna say that.
that I can play with. I knew you were. I was just bringing it forward so you didn't have to.
Shelly asked about the God helmet. Mark it down.
Yes. Check mark in my box.
Check.
If you go back to the beginning, you'll actually see I mentioned that.
Yes, you did. He didn't. Don't go back. You're fine. He's full of shit.
Well, and speaking of this, so you obviously build your own equipment, but do you help others like bring their, I guess, ideas to life, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. People approach me all the time about, hey, I want a REM pod, but I want it like this. Like, you see this little guy behind me, that little guy? That's actually a REM pod.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So one of the things is like, a kid's never going to go touch a square thing. That's going to be foreign to them. So I actually built the REM pod, and instead of having just an antenna, I ran an antenna wire around his whole body. So up his ears, down his arms. And so when he goes off, his feet light up. So the lights are in his feet, his paws. So if you get
Maybe
near
one
it,
of the kitty cat.
it goes off.
Well, I have some.
People that talk to me about stuff like that all the time.
I have some ideas. You and I might need to get together, and so does Brittany. I know she does too. So we might have to like jot them down and just be like, okay, here's what we want. We don't know how to do anything at all that you know how to do. So you tell us.
Yeah. And one of the things that we do is I'm actually getting ready to kick off a monthly podcast of ours called Tech Talk Tuesdays. So on Tuesdays, we're going to have just basically technology stuff. So whether it's 3D printing, making your own equipment, how to design stuff, what does a REM pod even do? Like I've been working on animations to show how, the signal goes through and it creates an electromagnetic field. And when you get in the way of it, it causes a drop in voltage and yada, 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 just kind of helping people understand what's going on. And then also bringing workshops. So one of the things that I want to start doing is taking these workshops to some of the Paracons and stuff. So we're literally going to come in with soldering irons and all the stuff. And, we're going to build everybody's going to get a kit. You're going to build a REM pod.
I'm totally down for that.
Oh, so cool.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I just want to teach people the basics of soldering, what the chips are doing, how they work.
God.
We can get super detailed or not detailed, depending on people's wants and needs for that. But
Tom,
or
I
you
thought
can
you
see
said you were
follow
going
these
to
directions. You're going to build a REM pod today.
I thought he said he was going to teach us the basics of sodomy, and I'm going to.
Not me and not you.
That's a whole other workshop.
Wrong podcast, Shelly. Wrong podcast.
Y'all, Chad, I'm deaf, and so a lot of times what I hear is not what's been said, but that's what I heard. I'm going to teach you the basics of sodomy, and then I was like, wait, can you do that?
That's a whole different workshop and a whole different kit.
My own equipment, or will you provide it?
Say that again. I bring my own equipment. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me.
Yes, it is. Sorry, I got thrown right off. I did not mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify in case somebody
No, that is not what I said at all.
I was like, you have to sign up in advance. You have to sign
Time
a
out.
waiver. I'm like, I think I know how that works, but you might know something I don't.
Shelly, that is a whole different type of investigation with a whole
And that's
different
what
set
it
of
is.
and a whole different set of outfits to go along with it.
That is definitely Comic-Con.
Child. Okay. I'll give you
Damn, I gotta go.
$5.
Damn,
Have
I
you not
gotta
been
go.
to Comic-Con?
I was like, I gotta go Comic-Con now.
It's just everything out on display, man.
It truly is. It truly is.
I was at Comic-Con this last week of the Fan Expo Dallas, and there's a couple of times I'm going, you're wearing that with all these kids here? That doesn't seem right.
It's cosplay. Leave me alone. I'm trying to be authentic to the
Yeah, what
character.
are you playing the part of a 2-bit hooker? Come on. Jeez Louise. Like, come on, have a little modesty. Not that I'm complaining, but the 10-year-old can take your eyes off you. Mom, what are those?
And the mom's like, shut up. You know what those are.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I did not mean to take us off the rails. We're talking about Tech Talk Tuesdays.
Oh, look, the chicken.
This is what happens though, Chad.
Soldering.
Yeah.
Sorry, we go off the rails.
Soldering.
Usually it's my fault. It's soldering. Yes. With a soldering iron and 3D printing. I was listening. I just got thrown for a hot minute.
Yeah, not a sodomy.
Really hot.
not a sodomy iron, Shelly.
I was wondering why her eyes were like just big saucer plates. Like, what the fuck were we just start talking about?
My apologies. I
Shelly's like, I know we're 18 and up, but damn.
Yeah. Well, a
You
couple
know,
weeks ago,
NC-17 now.
yeah, a couple of weeks ago, Blake said something like there could be probing, and I was like, cookie probing? What the hell is that? And they're like, no, could be probing.
You gotta make sure cookies are perfect.
I agree. Make sure they all are the same dip.
chocolate chips. Oh my
Yes.
God.
I'm
So-
very dip.
So
Go
about
ahead.
paranormal. Sorry, Shelly threw me off the rails.
Oh my God.
We're gonna get back there in just a second, guys. We
Yeah, we'll
promise.
work our way back. Sorry, Chad. We asked if you were sure, and you said yes, so it's your fault. He's like, never again. This is why nobody ever comes on twice with us.
That's why we never had a
I mean-
repeat test. Oh God.
Ryan, paranormal question, go.
I was gonna say it's like navigating landmines on here with these two. So
It's a horrible segue out of this. Just ask a fucking question, Ryan.
okay, well, kind of going back a little bit. What we were talking earlier.
Oh God,
we
we
were talking
lost
about
her.
earlier. Oh shit, she goes. What we were talking about earlier. You said you think there are very few people that actually have a psychic ability. Do you think that everyone, because people who you were talking about being intuitive, do you think everyone has like the raw materials and the building blocks and they don't necessarily know how to hone them into an actual skill? Or do you think that there are very few that actually have a skill?
Little column A, a lot of column B. I think everyone has the ability to be in tune with themselves and nature. It's just like people that spend a lot of times outdoors can quickly identify when something is the wind versus there's an animal following us. And I think we are the same way. We can train ourselves to pick up on very minutia details of our environment. And part of that, is being situationally aware. Like if anybody's a firearm carrier, you're always taught about being situationally aware. Identify the threat before they become a threat. And so I've done a lot of that training myself. And so when I find myself in these scenarios, I'm automatically going, that's dangerous. There's my exit plan. Here's my escape route. So I'm in tune with that. And I'm always putting myself in that environment. So everybody can kind of do that. Now, when it comes to people that can literally just be like, no, there's a guy named Dan and he's 44. That's fucking rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. So I think, and I think a lot of people mistake being intuitive or being able to read people as psychic ability, and it's not. It's just you're really good at anticipating what's going to happen next because you're picking up on body language and other characteristics and features that you don't subconsciously realize you're picking up on them. And I can do that too. I mean, I can look at people, and when they're talking to me, I can be like, just looking at their body language going, yeah, you're full of bullshit. I can see it right now. It's like, you're done. So it's kind of that way. Is you start picking up on that, and again, you can learn that, and you can learn to be really in tune with that, and you can learn to be really, really in tune with that to the point that you can feel when people walk into a room. You can feel the movement of the air or the change of temperature, and you can just blindfolded. You can go, somebody just walked into this room, and you know, Blake, I think that's what you really are in tune with that. You don't even realize it yet.
It's the weirdest thing. We actually tested it at a previous investigation very recently, at one that we have the exclusive access to. We got to get you in there. You would be a lot of fun there, especially with your Native American connection and all that kind of stuff. That was the weirdest thing because we put me on camera, we blindfolded me, and I just kind of sat there for a second, and we had a couple of pieces of paranormal equipment that were running and whatnot, and I just felt immediately, like out of nowhere, somebody walked in this way. Nobody was moving. It was me, Shelly, and Brittany, and nobody was moving. And somebody walked in, and I even like very quickly was like, I mean, I turned like my whole freaking body.
Yeah.
And I had one feeling like it bum rushed me as well, because there was at one point where I threw my hands up like this because I thought somebody was coming at me. And I was like, oh, I was like, back the fuck up. Like,
yeah, absolutely, man.
And so that's the whole thing, is like, I've been open about it because I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know the way it works. I don't know what I'm doing with it.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's just something that very recently has gotten very intense.
Yeah.
At locations.
No, you've honed that skill and you don't even realize you've honed it. And every time you do an experiment like that, or every time you put yourself in that scenario, you've honed that skill again. Mm-hmm. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So keep at it. By all means, keep at it.
I was like, that last one made me a little nervous when it bum rushed the shit out of me. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but you realize that there was something coming at you. And then what's really good is when you can start taking that into other scenarios, and you instantly walk in the room and you go, I'm not alone in this room. This is a good room to investigate. Mm-hmm. That's when you really start flipping it around. So it's not really psychic. You're just picking up on something, and you know it's there. So get them.
I'm trying to lean into it, but damn it, I feel like crazy whenever I talk about it.
I know it's so weird, but you know, just keep notes. That way you can go, well, what was it really that I was picking up on? And you'll start going, well, what did I feel? What I felt was, it felt like air rushing at me. All right, so let's see if that's really what it is. So next time, wear a long sleeve shirt, cover up the hairs on your arm so you can't feel that, and see if you still get that scenario. Because then you're like, I got to make sure that I always wear short sleeves, which is one thing I always do on investigations. I always wear short sleeves.
Yeah. Well, I might have tested it a little bit because I faced my chair towards the basement stairs, where we've had somebody pulled down those stairs and we've had somebody pulled over backwards in a chair in front of those stairs. And so I was like, I'm going to face right here. I'm just going to sit here and look and see. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we got to get you in that place because it's one of those that we've been, 8 times now, I believe, or something like that. Consistently, almost every time it produces.
I'm game.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm just gonna have to like get one date down and talk to the director of the museum and just be like, listen, I got nothing but paranormal investigators coming in. I need this date.
We need it. Yeah, we need it. We need it.
I'm game.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
Totally game.
So, what do you have going on future wise? Like, do you have anything kind of special or cooler coming up?
September, October, November, December.
Well, nothing in the books yet. I'm trying to get out there and do a little more speaking stuff. Like I said, I just spoke at Fan Expo. I got another speaking engagement that I'm doing. And like I said, I've really just been focusing on getting electronic parts made and ordered and brought in so that we can start the workshops to help people start building their own equipment, which I think is going to be really fun to be able to walk in somewhere and basically buy a cheap kit, $20-$30 and be like, we're going to build a REM pod out of that. I'm going to show you how. And you just demystify the tools of the trade, so to speak, and just understand what they are. So everything doesn't seem paranormal. That's kind of things like, okay, that's not paranormal. That just happens.
Yeah.
So it just happens to be one of the things, or like one of the things that I was at an investigation once with another group, and they put down a REM pod at this wall, and it kept going off and going off. And they're like, look at all this activity. I'm sitting there going, what's on the other side of that wall? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, you should know.
Yeah.
So we went to look. It was a bathroom. And they're like, what's that matter? I'm like, well, did you notice where you put your REM pod? Well, yeah, it's on the other side of the wall. There's nothing to do with that bathroom. I'm like, except you set it right next to the copper pipes. So your REM pod's going to be influenced by those copper pipes.
Yeah.
So you need to move your REM pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just understanding how those things can affect things can make you be a better investigator just by knowing the potential pitfalls so you don't get stooped. So
I think
Right,
that's such an important point to make, is that, I mean, at the minimal, attempt to debunk, you know. I mean, you may not know the inner workings of the building and what kind of, you know, like you just said, copper pipes and stuff like that, unless you can actually visually see them in whatever location you're in. But at least attempt to debunk, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, and that's one of the things I like to tell people about the videos that I post online is, you know, we might put up 30 minutes of video, but in that 30 minutes worth of video, there's probably 3 hours of debunking that happened.
Yeah.
So like in the video you guys saw where we ran up and down the hallways and stuff, that was a 4-hour process for that like 10 minutes of video, because we searched that hotel for 2.5 hours with the lights on looking for something.
Yeah.
But none of that goes in the video because nobody wants to watch that.
Right. That's not
but it's there. Can show it to you, but it's boring.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the debunking is not the exciting part. The exciting part is what you capture and what happens at these locations. But nobody wants to see you trying to see if you can make the door do or shut again without anybody touching it. You know, nobody wants to see that shit.
Exactly.
They just want to see the door closing. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Every now and then I'll throw out a debunk video. But
so will we.
If I can keep it short and sweet, you know, like 60-second debunk video, then I'll do it. But sometimes it's hard to show a debunking process in 60 seconds because it's like you stumble across it. You start taking variables out of the equation. Like, that's what it was.
Right. Right.
But everything's paranormal, right?
Oh, totally.
According to some people, and what they would have you believe.
And their fans. Oh, apparently if you're good-looking teenage boys, that nothing matters. I got to remember to take thumbnail photos that make me look like I crap my pants every time. That's my pet peeve, man, is thumbnail videos that make you look like you've crapped your pants. What? And like every thumbnail is the same thing.
It's the big eyes, like
somebody's pointing and someone's squatting.
You look like you're about to drop the best rap record of all time.
I'm like, come on, be more creative than that. I'm big and tough.
I love it though. I love it though. I think it's
Paranormal
hilarious.
investigator groups pose.
I love it though. I'm sorry. I'm all about it. I'll go through this. I'm like, look at their thumbnail. Look at their thumbnail. Look at their thumbnail. Like
I try to make my thumbnails interesting. Just whatever's happening, or grab a good clip from the dang scene of it. So that's why we have thumbnails of us going. Right? One of them wasn't even paranormal. Somebody jumped out of the closet at me to prank me, and I got scared. But it made a good thumbnail.
I love a good stock paranormal thumbnail. I don't know why. I just do.
Yeah, it's great.
With the building all illuminated in red and the lightning going across, and them like.
And it's always the title of like the scariest night in the world's most haunted 7-Eleven, or something like that.
I love it.
I heard a Slurpee with Satan.
It's like, hey, it sucks me in. I click it to watch it. I'm like, oh, what's this about? You know what I mean? So hey, it works.
Clickbait.
And then I'm trying to figure out why I just spent the last hour and 45 minutes watching this team investigate instead of like folding my laundry or cleaning the house or what I was supposed to be doing.
We won't talk about that. We don't need to talk about that. I have no idea what you're talking about. We won't talk about that. Next question.
I'm sorry,
There's not laundry downstairs.
It's
right
like
now.
I'm sorry. What? Oh, my attorney is advising not to answer that.
So, Chad, I know that you make a lot of equipment and things like that. Can people come to the Ghost Geek site and buy it from you?
Sort of. So we're working on that part right now. We're setting up a storefront to get it going. Because right now everything's very handmade by me, and I'm trying to look at better ways to like manufacture it in a little more timely. Because 3D printing is not the fastest method in the world, and it's also not the strongest. So I'm looking at taking 3D prints and turning them into resin molds so that we can up the game on that and just make. I want something that if a pissed off 12-year-old threw on the ground, it's not going to break. So. Because I can't tell you how many times I've set down a REM pod, forgot about it, and kicked it down a damn hallway. So,
I think we've
all been there and done that, right?
I was gonna say, I think we've all kicked a piece of
I think I broke
equipment.
my first 2 that way. I just kicked them down the hallway like they were football. So, that's an expensive mistake. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But doing that, but yeah, if they go and follow us on Ghost Geeks, there'll be links that are going to go up there, and the storefront will go up there. We are working on a website. It hasn't officially launched yet, but it is coming. Like I said, this side of it's all pretty new. We've just been doing investigations and studying and learning. So that's kind of where we've been at for the last, I guess, 5-6 years now. Is just learning. It's just learning. A good investigator is always learning.
I would say ain't
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
And Chad, they can go. What is your YouTube page? Is it just Ghost Geeks on
Yep,
YouTube?
Ghost
or-
Geeks.
Okay, and they can watch all these cool videos and.
Oh yeah.
Oh
With
my
the-
God! I
with the
almost
cool
said watch
thumbnails?
you-
Oh yeah, and
I-
every now and then, like, and what at the locations that have the ability for us to get on the internet, we actually do live streaming, and we'll actually load in the DVR system into a computer. We'll have, like, I remember one time at Old Park, we had 26 cameras in the live
Wow.
stream, and we were flowing those through on a full. It was like 7 hours. We streamed for 7 hours that night.
Wow.
And
Nice.
just we had mobile cameras that we could switch to, and we could go to different people, like we'd go into here, and then bam, we got a jail scene from the jail across the street when stuff was happening. We're just back there producing it, just boom, boom, boom. So places that have internet, we love.
Yes.
We'll keep that live rolling as long as we can.
See, oh yeah, we love to do that too, because it's all about, like, we know that vast majority more of our viewers, and I'm sure it's the same for y'all, viewers and listeners and all that kind of stuff, they don't get to personally and publicly come with us. So getting them to be able to come in with us just through a live stream, I absolutely love when paranormal teams do that.
Oh yeah, and I keep looking for better and better ways to live stream. So really, it's the wireless connections or the holdback. But we've been saving old iPhones and turning them into remote cameras and things like that. So
I have
didn't know
some
you
old
could do that,
iPhones.
did you? And an iPhone does not have to have a cellular plan to work. So if you have Wi-Fi, you can connect them onto your own Wi-Fi spot and stream them into one central unit.
Very
I
So
true.
didn't know that.
we bring our own Wi-Fi because you don't even have to have the internet for that to get them to your computer. And then if they have Wi-Fi, you take the Wi-Fi to your computer, and it'll branch to your own Wi-Fi and suck everything in. So yeah, when I said geek, I meant it.
You and I need to have a
Your
conversation.
geek
I
name,
meant
yes.
it.
You and I-
Your geekiness, I love it.
I'm like, you and I need to have a conversation, because out of the three of us on the screen, Shelly has the toys, I am the tech guy, Ryan is the history buff. So we each take our own little area and run with it whenever we're doing investigations. So you and I need to talk.
Here's how bad I am, Chad. I don't even open it. I just pay for it and order it, and I walk in and I go, guys, here it is. I don't figure out how to make it work.
I can't tell you how many times she just handed me a piece of equipment and be like, figure it out. Oh,
I'd be
okay,
like,
cool.
I don't know. I can't figure out how to turn it on. I'd be like,
Typical
"Yeah."
woman.
Oh.
We're just supposed to figure them out, and the on button keeps moving. Can't ever have to figure out how to turn you guys on.
I'm like, hey,
No.
listen, I had to help her turn her camera around on a Facebook Live. It's all good.
Shut up.
okay.
I'm not so self-obsessed that I have to turn my camera around to look at myself. Okay. I didn't know how to do that.
I was being mean at Shelley's expense, and I apologize. Everybody's gonna give me hate mail for that one.
It's
Oh.
like you're gonna get some
Yeah,
flack
you
for
know
that,
what?
man.
That's all
right.
right.
My peeps love me. They're going to come for you, Chad.
Hey, man, Chad, sometimes you got to suffer for the sake of comedy.
True. If you're not laughing, you ain't living right, man.
Right?
Exactly.
I,
Oh,
I,
God.
child, I promise you, they probably said worse to me 100 times.
No, I wouldn't say it if I didn't love you,
I know.
or if I didn't
Exactly.
expect you to say something just equally ridiculous back to me.
It's fine. See, I never do it right away. I always plan my revenge.
And
She
my
means
point
it.
has yet been proven again. The horns are hiding her halo.
Ain't no halo. What are you talking
What?
about?
Shut up, Brian. You
Just the
asshole.
glow off her blonde hair.
She's short, mean, and close to hell. So
We always joke about my grandparents and said, you know, the reason they haven't died yet is heaven don't want her and hell's afraid they'll take over.
Oh, yes, I have a place now on the throne. Trust me. So, little
Oh,
evil
God.
laugh there. Well, gentlemen, is there anything else that we need to ask Chad? Because we have actually run over the time I told him. But any final questions for Mr. Chad Wandel?
I got all mine out. It's been a fascinating little interview with you, Chad, and I appreciate you coming on, man. I've had a blast.
Yeah.
My cheeks actually hurt from laughing so much on this.
Absolutely.
Anytime. I love doing this stuff. So anytime.
Awesome,
well, then,
man.
if you will hang on just a second and stay through our closing with us, we will get off here and we'll thank you properly. So just stay on the screen with us. So Blake, why don't you tell them everything they need to know?
Sounds good. Don't really have a whole lot of announcements right now. If you're looking for tickets for public events, go check out our Eventbrite page and see if we have any ticket availability left. They are going extremely fast. So at this point, I can't even tell you if we do or don't have any. We're going to post up our Linktree link tomorrow after this episode, so make sure you go check that out. That is going to have everything that you need, all of our social channels, our Patreon, our public events, and all that stuff, including, and speaking of our Patreon, that is only $5 a month, where you're going to get well over 100 extra Patreon exclusive videos of us acting like buffoons, idiots, and talking more about the paranormal. About 10 times worse than what you saw on the podcast tonight. It's a little more tame on here. So make sure you go and follow us across the board, because we are going to be releasing some special stuff for strictly certain channels. So if you're only following us on one channel, you're only going to get a fraction of the stuff that we have. So also make sure you leave us a review wherever you're watching us from. The more you review us, the more we'll be able to reach out and bring you even more content. And as always, any questions, comments, or stories you'd like to share with us, those can be submitted to us at evppod@gmail.com. That's THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
Like, share, and subscribe. So thank you so much for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt. My partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith, Mr. Ryan Roberts, and of course our fabulous producer Brittany, who is in the back pushing the buttons and making us look great. We want to thank our super duper special guest and soon to be big partner in crime, even more than normal, Mr. Chad Wandel. Please go and follow him at Ghost Geeks on YouTube, and hey, go and follow his page, and maybe you too will get to sodomize a REM pod. So thank you for joining us. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.